All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We were just having a conversation in here about some members of the media that wonder why I'm so passionate on social media. I don't know. I can't really respond to that.
I'm going to get you. You know, I'm getting you chill pills for Christmas.
No,
man.
I don't want to chill.
That's what you do.
You know what? Because when I chill and when I'm nice, that's when I'm not good at what I do. So no, I don't want to do that. I have to be Brian. I have to be who I am.
When the hell are you nice?
What is it, Frank Sinatra, who said,
"Do it my way"?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
All
that's
right,
the voice of.
Let me just get this out of the way. I've had a bunch of text messages. Guru, what's your pick? Guru, what's your pick? We've talked about the matchups, and I agree with you on all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I told you Keith Mitchell for the long
200
shot.
to 1, yes.
Hell, I might as well pick Larry Mize at 2,500 to one for crying out loud.
That's not going
to
to
happen. What the hell's he even doing there? But I'm going with my guy Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah,
20 to 1.
Fleetwood's pretty solid. Let's go with, is Magic Johnson playing at Augusta National? He's got some time. Anyway, the reason why
they won't let him on the grounds. I think the dude is black.
Probably. They probably won't. They're those idiot racists at Augusta. Anyway, we digress now. We're going to switch things up, talk a little hoops. It is Wednesday, and that means it is time for our hoops guru, Jamieson Welsh from Drive Time Sports, who always does a wonderful job for us. Jamieson, how are you? Thanks for coming in.
Oh, Brian, thanks for having me as always, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, we always have a lot of fun here, and boy, do we have a lot to get to with you. You know, last night was a very emotional night for Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki, and I want to get to that. But I thought that, and we're going to get to the reasons why you think Magic stepped down, but I thought it was a little bit selfish of him to make the announcement in front of the media and kind of overshadow these two great men. And yes, I think Wade and Nowitzki are two great men. And I think it overwhelmed it kind of over I don't know, what's the way I should put it? It led SportsCenter when Wade and Nowitzki should have led SportsCenter. I thought that was selfish. Maybe he didn't think it out, but that was just my take on that.
If they're playing in the same arena, I'd agree with you, but it's Magic Johnson in Los Angeles. He has a statue outside and he has a jersey in the rafters.
Right.
He can say and do whatever he wants in that arena. I'm not saying he was right. I understand what you're coming from, but it's Magic Johnson. Like I see if it was like some random role player, but it's Magic Johnson.
I understand.
And he's always been a guy. If he feels like who's going to tell him no?
Yeah,
that's the thing. Who's going to tell Magic no?
Well, I hear what you're saying.
I'm not saying he's right, but I'm just saying people have to understand the whole picture.
Yeah,
it's Magic. If he feels he has something to say, he's going to say it. If he sees a group of people and he's in his arena, that let's be honest, if it wasn't for him, that arena wouldn't have been built. So with that all being said,
right?
Yeah, now I agree with you. Dwayne Wade and Dirk, they got a lot of love though. Like they both got a lot of love,
except for Michael Jordan. Dirk Nowitzki retires. All of his heroes were there. Scottie Pippen, the Human Highlight Film, Dominique Wilkins, Larry Bird was hilarious. Charles Barkley was fantastic. I thought it showed a lot of class from those guys to show up and honor Dirk. The one guy that wasn't there, that Dirk even said he wanted to be there, was Michael Jordan. Should we be surprised?
He's the owner of a team though that's in a playoff hunt. I don't mind that at all. Like that's a different situation. If he was an owner of an NBA team, he wasn't there. That's different. But he had other obligations. Just like for instance, if Dwayne Wade played last night in Miami, he's playing tonight in Brooklyn. LeBron's there because their season's over. There's no more games. If your team season's still in play, you can't do that because then they question, oh, well, do you care about your team now?
All right.
So it's really tricky. I feel where you're coming from because Michael's reputation is a little bit different. We got to understand in this day and age where we analyze everything media-wise and psychoanalyze everything, you got to be with your team first.
All right.
That's a good point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
But again, you talk about Michael Jordan and his past. He doesn't have the best, reputation when it comes to these sorts of things. But let's go to Magic Johnson first, and then we'll get to Wade and Nowitzki. We've got a little bit of UNLV to talk about, some players that decided to stay, an assistant coach, Kevin Kruger, who we had on yesterday, who was just hired. A lot to get to, and then, of course, the NBA playoffs right around the corner. Let's start with Magic Johnson. Your first reaction when you heard that Magic Johnson was stepping down?
I can't say my first reaction on air because it pertains to profanity, but at the same time, I was like, I understood what the situation was because it's Magic. Like, he's a guy that he does things Magic Johnson does. Like, he's a guy that he likes to live his life. His guy overcame one of the worst illnesses you could ever have, or worst disease, whatever you want to call it, you could ever have. So for him to be like, you know what, this isn't for me, okay, like, I understood what he was doing. If he would have did it in a press release this morning, all right, it doesn't have the same effect, but the same thing still happens. He still steps down. At the end of the day, it's not really the way it happened. It's the fact that, hey, he stepped down from probably one of his dream jobs. Being in charge of the Lakers is one of his dream jobs as a guy who was the best player to ever play for the franchise. So it's unfortunate the way it happened. At the same time, it needed to be done for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, I think it's a big overreaction more than anything.
Well, let me give you my opinion on what because I think there's several factors here, and then you tell me if you agree or not. Okay. First of all, he doesn't go in to tell Jeannie Buss. He cannot go face to face with her. I thought that was at the very least that was inappropriate. I thought that he should have told her first. If they're that close, like he says they are, and I am going to believe him when he says that. You cannot do that. You cannot go to the media first and let her find out through other sources. At the very least, show her the respect of going into her office. I also think that there was a lot of disconnect there. I believe he wanted Luke Walton fired this morning, okay? He wanted Luke Walton and that staff out the door, and I believe that there is some pushback there. And I believe that their general manager just does not get along with Magic. They don't get along, and I believe Magic Johnson when he said he was tired of hearing things, from other people, tired of hearing some talk behind closed doors without him being there. I think that's also a factor. Now, I also think he did not have the time nor the energy to be able to put the hours into that job that needed to be into that position. He had a lot of other business ventures and a lot of other things going on. I also believe that to be the case, and I think a small factor was that the Lakers were not making a lot of progress, that they did have a disappointing season. Things perhaps did not go the way that Magic Johnson hoped that they would go. And we don't know what else is happening behind closed doors between him and LeBron James. We just don't know. But I believe those several factors, I think, played a role in him deciding to step down. Would you agree with that?
Partly. The biggest part is this. A lot of things didn't go according to plan, but it wasn't on him. Like, it's not his fault that they were hurt and that 4 stars ended up getting hurt and ended up being out for the year for the most part. That's not on Magic. Also, here's the thing. Magic's getting a really bad rap for being lazy or not doing certain roles he's supposed to be doing for the president of the team. We see college sports out here a lot, college basketball all the time. I saw him all the time out here. Whenever there was an event out here, he was there. I saw him in non-desirable places like Nashville and Memphis. No offense to anyone who's from there who loves those places, but those are the places you hop on a jet to go to just because. He went there to go watch basketball to do his job. So when I see and hear people say, oh, he was lazy, he didn't do this, I have a problem with that. Now, I do think that he's Magic, and part of the thing about being Magic is you have 80 million things to do besides your actual role here. So I think that was an issue, but calling him lazy, I have a problem with that. That's the thing.
I never said he was lazy.
You haven't. A lot of other people have. I think
he's involved with a lot of other things in his life.
His plate's too full.
Let me put it to you this way: if he didn't have all these other business ventures, if he didn't own part of the Dodgers, and Starbucks and everything else that he's doing, let's not forget that he also has a family. Okay, he's got a lot of other things going on. He's got a gazillion other business ventures. Then I might call him lazy. But that's not the case here. He has all these other things going on in his life. He said it himself. He has not been very happy with this job. Okay? He wasn't enjoying himself. He wants to enjoy life a little bit.
So for those that don't know, if you've ever been to Los Angeles or Southern California or most of California outside before you get to the Bay Area, it's a Laker state for the most part. I mean, the Warriors have done well the last 5 years, but it's a Laker state. You have a lot of Laker fans all throughout the state. When Lakers doing well, it's all love, Laker flags out, etc. When they're doing bad, whoever's in charge is getting the blame. So Magic is part of the people who is in charge. So he's going out to eat and like, hey, Magic, what's going on?
Right.
First time ever,
he's
Magic
taking a lot of crap,
in his own city. So Magic, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on with the team? Hey, what you got LeBron? Hey,
he's got to get sick of that.
Exactly, and that's not Magic. And remember, Magic's Magic. Magic, big smile. Genuine smile, not fake smile, not cheesy smile, handshake. He might even hug you. If you see Magic out here, next time you see him, and you and him and JD or Chris, whatever, y'all in the same place, he might dap and hug all y'all just because he don't have to know you. Y'all start talking basketball.
Magic is a good dude. He's very personable. He's one of the most. First of all, he's in my opinion one of the top 5 players of all time.
Yep.
I believe that to be true. Yep. Probably the best point guard of all time, and arguably one of the best players to ever play the game. So with that being said, that stature, I see him here at NBA Summer League, and I see what he comes. He takes pictures with everybody. He signs autographs. Yeah. He smiles. He spends some time with kids. He just seems like a really, really nice guy. I don't know how intelligent the guy is. I hear some people telling me that he's not as smart as you think he is. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. All I know is he seems like a good dude. He made some he made some mistakes in his life. He paid the price for those mistakes. He admitted to those mistakes. All I know is the last 15, 20 years, he seems like a damn good husband and a good father. And he's got a son who is homosexual. And you know what? Some fathers, I don't condone this. I think it's wrong, but some fathers might condone their son for that type of behavior. I don't agree with that, and I'm pretty consistent on that on the show. Magic is the opposite of that. He is a great father, a loving father who supports his son, and he's been asked about that.
And I can't see him hanging with Brian and JD.
Well, no.
Is that what you're saying? No, you just said that, right?
I did, because in Vegas, you don't know who you're running into.
That's true.
In Vegas, I'm telling you, I've been at a bar at Red Rock with DeMarcus Cousins just strolls on by. and over the summer he has a house out here, so I've seen that.
Yep.
In basketball in July, and also during the college events. In the college events, you don't know who's out here because everyone's out here watching for whatever reason. If he's in the media room having a beverage or a lunch or whatever, and Magic comes and walks by, and y'all start talking basketball, at the end, he's going to dap and hug you. That's what it is.
I have a DeMarcus Cousins story. So I used to ref some adult games over at Lifetime, which is a very nice place to work out, and it's a very nice place for eye candy as well.
Expensive place. Please put that in.
It is expensive.
Yeah.
The problem with some of these basketball players that I officiated there is that they think they're in the NBA, and they complain more than a LeBron James does on the basketball court, which is ridiculous. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at what I do on the basketball court. I've been doing it for 20 years. Not perfect, but I think I do a pretty... Anyway, so DeMarcus Cousins is rolling by in the locker room, and I'm not that kind of guy that likes to bother people, but I say, Boogie, what's going on? He comes over, he's like, how you doing, man? He gives me a high five, and I say, Boogie, be honest with me, okay? Because he sees me in my ref gear, okay? And I say, Boogie, come on, be real with me right now. Who is the worst official in the NBA? And he looks at me and he goes, your ass.
Yep.
And he starts laughing. And then I see DeMarcus. I see him at the Golden State Warriors preseason game. I'm at their practice here at the T-Mobile Arena. I go up to him and he recognizes me and he gives me a high five. And I said, DeMarcus, you still think I'm the worst official? He looks at me and he goes, no, you'd probably be all right.
And that's Boogie. Like that's Boogie. But he gets this preconceived, notion that he's a terrible person. That's not the case.
No, not at all. I think he's a very emotional person.
Yes, and there's some situations where I've heard he might be on medication because he has.
DeMarcus seems like a really good guy that has trouble with maybe anger issues. I look at him as the same way I look at Mike Tyson in some aspects, where I think Mike is a good dude.
Mike real life crazy.
Well, Mike's on medication too, though, anger and stuff.
He is, but Mike real life crazy.
Well, he's a little crazy, yes. I think DeMarcus is a little crazy on the basketball court.
Yeah, that's the thing. In real life, he ain't crazy. Mike
Tyson is the calmest guy in the world right now. He's a great father.
We're not talking about the prime.
I understand, but look, Mike Tyson went to jail for rape. Okay, I'm not calling DeMarcus Cousins a rapist. Not that I think that Mike Tyson is a rapist either, but that's another story for another show.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the Lakers here real quickly. So Magic's out now. I don't know what's going to happen with Luke Walton. So what is going on with that situation?
Luke will probably be replaced as well. I mean,
you don't think there's any chance he comes back?
Well, here's the thing. It's similar to Marvin Menzies. The third year of the contract. Next year is your last guaranteed year. Most coaches want to go into some sense of security. Agents aren't going to let their client go into a last year of a deal without any security beyond that. That just doesn't happen. So it's either extend them or you get rid of him. And that's on both parties. So I don't see him coming back because I don't see them extending him. At the same time, I think it's best if Luke goes somewhere else where it's a little bit less pressure and a little less attention to what's going on.
Is there any chance that LeBron James is reconsidering his situation with the LA Lakers? Any chance at all?
No, because part of this is on him. That trade situation that happened with the Pelicans in the middle of the season, that's him and his agents doing. I love Clutch Sports, what they do and what they represent. I understand young people making moves. I love it. However, when you do that and you're trying to trade away half your team, that trade better happen. That trade cannot not happen. Like, if you go all in like that, you can't go all in. You play poker. You can't put all your chips in and then think about it, and then, I'm released. Once you cross that line, it's over. It's dedicated.
There's been a few times where I wanted to do that when I got an Insta call, but but I understand where you're coming from. Jamieson Welsh from Drive Time Sports joining us in studio along with Dennis Silvers, the golf guru. We're talking a little bit about the LA Lakers situation, Magic Johnson. What are your thoughts? There's a lot of people out there that are Lakers fans. Let me give out the number if you want to give us a buzz and ask Jamieson Welsh a question. Also, we have the NBA playoffs right around the corner. So if you have an NBA question, whether it's about Magic Johnson or the playoffs coming up, anything basketball related, you can give us a call right now, and Jamieson will answer those questions. The number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Again, the number if you want to give us a buzz, talk a little Lakers, Magic Johnson, your thoughts on that, your thoughts on the NBA playoffs, even UNLV, give us a buzz, 257-5396.
And I'm guessing Jamieson is not a member of Lifetime.
Well, so here's the thing. I could be if I wanted to. I would love to be, but I'm not paying $150 for a gym.
That is a lot.
I can. I can, but I'm not paying $150.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a little too much.
Yeah, that is a lot of money. I do want to go to the two retirements or last home game for Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade. Now, I can't remember, Jamieson, a night in the NBA where we had something like this, at least in a long time, where you had two future Hall of Famers that had such emotional, I guess you could call it a going-away party. Let's start with Dirk Nowitzki. Here's a guy that played his entire career, for the most part, in Dallas.
Right.
Won an NBA championship, which meant so much to that organization. Stuck. Mark Cuban did the right thing by not getting rid of him. He paid him throughout his career, even when maybe he didn't, for some standards would say Dirk didn't deserve that money the last 5 years. He wasn't really producing as much, but I thought it was very emotional. He got Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins, Scottie Pippen, and Charles Barkley, 4 of Dirk Nowitzki's heroes. He said it that those were his heroes. They all show up and they all had something to say after the game. And then Mark Cuban gets emotional, with Dirk. I thought that was a very touching moment. It shows you the type of relationship that they've had over the years. I thought it was just a great going-away party for Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, here's the thing, and Dirk has taken pay cuts since the finals.
Yeah.
Since the last finals, he's taken several pay cuts to try to get other guys in. They have been able to draw that second guy in, so it is what it is. However, there's one night that has 2 other guys that retired on the same night, too. That was Kobe's last game, and that was Duncan's also last regular season game.
Was it Tim Duncan's also? Gosh,
Yeah,
I don't remember that. How many years ago was that? I don't even remember
2016,
that.
so that's like
it wasn't
3
even that
seasons ago.
long ago. I
and
don't
then
even
also
remember that.
Kevin Garnett's going to be in that class as well, so you're going to have 3
Wow.
first out about it, no Hall of Famers. But this class is awesome as well.
Right.
Dirk, D Wade, both those guys are going to have statues.
Sure.
Whenever you have guys that are retiring, they're going to have statues. That means you got something there. Because a lot of guys are really good players, Hall of Fame guys.
Oh, sure.
When they're going to break ground and have a statue of you outside of the arena where you won a championship, that's special.
No doubt. 257-5396. Jamieson Welsh, our hoops guru in the house. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's go to Robert. Robert, thanks for calling in. You're on with Jamieson. How are you?
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind? Robert, you're on with Jamieson.
I think the players are going to be boring because of LeBron James not being there. Just like, when Tiger Woods is not around, how ratings go down. So that's my take on it.
So you think that just because LeBron James, Jamieson, Robert is saying he feels just because LeBron James is not in the NBA playoffs, he feels like the playoffs are going to be boring, right, Robert?
Yes, sir.
So, Jamieson, what do you think about that?
Oh, the playoffs are going to be just fine. You have some matchups out west that you might get Houston OKC who played a hell of a game last night. That was one of the best games of the season. You might get that matchup around 1. You're going to see Denver is a very young team that people don't get to see that often. They're very exciting. They play in a place where it's tough to play at, and they score a lot. Golden State's on pace for history. Whenever you have a team that's chasing history like this, it's never going to be boring. That's not the case. And then the out east, the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs is that you might have 2 7-game series, and there's nothing that beats that at all. So it's definitely it's going to be anything from boring. Well, I think you're going to see more new faces than you ever seen before.
Let me ask though, because Robert, you're a casual basketball fan. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, so Jamieson, let's speak to Robert. Again, he's a casual basketball fan. To most casual NBA fans, they don't really usually get excited until the playoffs. I don't want to speak for Robert, but Robert, is that fair to say for the most part?
Yeah, that's when all the pretenders get out of the way. Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, so for somebody like Robert, I do understand where he's coming from. LeBron James has star power. Not to say that there are not a ton of other stars. Golden State is star-studded, right? You still got Houston, and you got of course James Harden, who arguably is one of the best offensive players to ever play the game. I mean, just the year he's had this year is just unheard of. It's unbelievable. So while I get what Robert's saying, and LeBron James is the GOAT, a lot of people like to call him that, but I think I understand what Robert is saying. You want LeBron James in the mix. He's not even in the playoffs. I need somebody to root against, right, Robert?
Yes, sir. The advertisement people, the people who sponsor the games on TV, those people are wishing he was there. I guarantee you that now.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's the same reason why I say the people at CNN and MSNBC want Donald Trump to win the election in 2020. Same reason, because he gets ratings. Robert, good to hear from you. I appreciate the call. Thank you. Sure, thank you. 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. By the way, I mean that, Jamieson, not to switch to politics.
I understand. No, you're right. You have a great point. That's what it is.
I mean, look, I'm not a big Trump supporter, obviously. I mean, I talk about Donald Trump every day. But I'll miss the guy if he doesn't win in 2020 because he always gives me stuff to talk about. He's entertaining. That might not be what you want for a president, but
he's entertaining to some. But he makes a lot of people money, and when you make a lot of people money, you don't stop the money train unless there's absolute reason to do so.
No doubt. I agree with that. Again, 257-5396 if you want to ask our hoops guru, Jamieson Welsh, a question. And, of course, we're talking about the NBA playoffs. Let's go to Dwayne Wade now. We talked about the Dirk Nowitzki retirement last night. Dwayne Wade has done so many great things for a lot of people. I think it showed the type of person he is where one of the kids that died in the Parkland shooting was buried in a Dwayne Wade jersey.
Yes.
And when Dwayne Wade found out about that, he wrote his name on his sneakers when he played. He contacted the family. That's the kind of guy that Dwayne Wade is. And I know a lot of people might say, well, he should have done that. Look, there's a lot of NBA players that would not have done that. They wouldn't have wanted, maybe even been a part of that. But I thought that was very, very special, and I thought the whole retirement last night was very special as well. Let's go to Scott. Scott, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. You're on with Jamieson Welsh. How are you?
Good. I want to ask you guys a rules question.
Sure.
Kind of a random question. Like if you could change one thing in basketball. This is one thing I've never understood. If I am on offense and my team scores, right?
Yep.
This is very random, I know. Why is it that the team who just scored is allowed to, take the ball out of the net and give it to the ref, or take it and put it on the floor, or take it and Why is the team that just scored allowed to touch the ball out of the net?
Well, first of all, I think that is a delay tactic for the offense. The offense should not be touching the ball. And I was an official for 20 years. I took a year off this year. If I see players do that, I'm not going to give them a delay of game warning, but unless they throw the ball somewhere where they shouldn't. If they throw it to me, I'm going to look at them. I'm going to say, don't touch the ball next time. And if they do it again, I'm going to give them a delay of game warning. If they do it a second time or anyone else on the team does it, it is a technical foul. It is inappropriate for them to touch the ball. Now, if they pick up the ball quickly and they throw it to the player that is inbounding it, I have no problem with that at all because it's actually speeding up the game. But if I'm coaching a team, high school, younger kids, I say, after a basket is scored, I don't care if the ball is right in front of you. Don't try to help the official. Don't touch the ball. Let the official pick it up or let the other team pick it up.
Yep. I agree.
And what's the ruling, guys? If I'm shooting a free throw and I shoot it, can that guy closest to him block him out?
There's a new rule in high school basketball, and that's what I don't have experience doing college basketball, but a new rule that came out 2 years ago said you are not allowed to make physical contact with the free throw shooter. So in essence, you're really not allowed to box him out, but what you can do is you could stand in front of him and get position.
Put your hands up.
Right, you're allowed to do that. That is a new rule that was just into place. If you make physical contact with the free throw shooter, I believe it is a violation.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Scott. I've been an official for a long time, so that's actually a new rule. That's a good question. That just came out a couple of years ago. I don't know if that's the rule in college. I believe in college you're still allowed to box out the free throw shooter. Why do you think they came up with that rule in high school?
I have no idea. But there's two rules they need to change. One, need a shot clock at all high schools in the country. I know it's expensive.
They have them in some places.
Like 8 or 10.
Back east.
California and
Connecticut
some other places.
does.
Connecticut does.
Yep.
But also, second thing, take out the charge. We don't ban the charge. The charge does more harm than good.
Okay, so what do you do if a kid is just standing right underneath the basket and somebody just nails him right into him? You call a block?
He gets out the way, or he either gets out the way or he jumps and tries to contest the shot. The charge does more harm than good to the game. It takes all the flow out the game. There's no flow when you have people taking charges on both ends. It's just a really bad call. Plus, a lot of guys get hurt taking charges.
So you're okay with the push-off offensive foul, right?
That's another rule change I'd worry about too, but I'm more the charge. Someone taking a charge standing like this when someone's jumping, it's just so many bad things that can happen with that.
I understand what you're saying, but I think if an offensive player is completely out of control, you have to be able to stop that from happening.
That's a different call. But the whole setting up like this, setting up, and while a guy's about to jump, I just think that the initiative of taking the charge, the whole reward of taking a charge isn't worth it. One, to player safety, and two, to the flow of the game. It's really
they've
bad.
taken away the charge in the NBA, and if you're in that circle, it's always going to be a block.
Right.
And I believe in college basketball, I thought they had that rule as well. I like that rule because I think you have to let a player land after they take a shot.
Right.
I get that. But in my opinion, I'm going to disagree with you. I think that it is an art form. If you are in a defensive position and you have a player lower the shoulder.
That's different.
Okay?
That's
different. But that's an offensive foul.
Well, a charge and offensive foul, a player control foul, and like a charge when someone's actually setting up. So, for instance, when you see a guy beat his man out the dribble and someone comes way out of random to jump in front of him, that should not. That's how.
So you're saying you're okay with the charge as long as the player lowers the shoulder, but you're not
if he's
okay.
out of control. If he's out of control.
But you're okay. You didn't say that. But if you're not okay with an offensive foul, if a player is under control, doesn't lower the shoulder, and there's just body to body contact.
That's how injuries happen. That's way too many injuries happen that way.
All right. I guess I'd be willing to talk about that, but I still think that when a player's out of control and lowers the shoulder, you got to call it.
No, that's different. We got to make a name for that. But that's a foul.
Right. It's still an offensive foul.
Right.
They still call it the same way, but I understand. Well, that's an interesting topic. I think there are some rules that need to change in basketball.
Yes.
I think there's way too many timeouts in basketball. I don't like that. I don't like the review. I understand in college basketball under 2 minutes. Let me ask you this. Since we are talking college basketball, let's talk about that Auburn-Virginia game, because I don't have a problem with the foul, with the 3 free throws.
It was a foul.
It was a foul,
Yeah,
but that was also a double dribble.
Yes.
And even in real time, I saw it, and I said, that's a double dribble.
There, I think I was right there. That's my thing. If there's not a referee around, okay, it is what it is, missed call.
Yeah.
Dude's right there, you got to make that call. Like, you can't miss that call.
Here's a guy that gets a Final Four, and I would imagine, I don't know who that official was, but I would imagine he has a lot of experience, otherwise he wouldn't have been there. You cannot allow that official to have another Final Four for a very, very, very long time. He blew the call.
Yeah.
That is and by the way, I thought the crew did a good job up to that point.
Yeah.
But when it is that obvious, now if he kept dribbling, if he kept the dribble, that would have been perfectly legal, but he didn't. He picked it up, and then he started dribbling again. I saw that in real time, and I wasn't 3 feet from the play like that guy was. Total blunder. I think we all could agree most likely 90% Auburn wins that game, because then they're up 2 with the basketball, and Virginia has to foul. All the kid has to do is make 2 free throws, even if he makes 1 in all likelihood.
The time was right.
Yeah, so that was a big blunder.
It was.
And that can't happen. It certainly can't happen in the Final Four. It shouldn't happen in any game, let alone when you have a game like that where 2 teams are just fighting it out, and it was a very hard-fought game. Look, Virginia, great coach. Good team, great defensive team. They are very deserving of the national championship, but I think Auburn probably would have beaten Texas Tech in that game.
That would have been a hell of a game, though. You have offense versus defense. That would have been a hell of a game.
It would have been a hell of a game. If you're just joining us, Jamieson Welsh from Drive Time Sports. We're going to take a quick break. We'll take more of your calls when we come back at 257-5396. Again, the number to call is 257-5396. We're going to get a little bit into UNLV as well. They made a hire, an assistant coach who we had on the show yesterday, Kevin Kruger. We'll talk to Jamieson about that. Also, a couple key UNLV players that have decided to stay. We'll get to that and much, much more, and then preview the NBA playoffs. We have not even done that yet. We will be doing that with Jamieson when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. My co-host Sharpie is out this week. He'll be back on Monday. We got Jamieson Welsh in studio from Drive Time Sports, our hoops guru. So we're going along. It's a big sports week, of course. We have the Masters, which starts tomorrow. By the way, Jamieson, I went to we were just talking a little off the air about the Aviators. I went to the ballpark yesterday. It was opening night, and I know it's really windy and the weather was crappy. I got to tell you, it was a great atmosphere. Even though the weather was terrible, I said to myself, this is just 10 times better than what it was at Cashman for so many different reasons. First of all, where the stadium is. It's in a beautiful facility. If you don't know where it is, it's right across the street from Red Rock, right where, what is it? What do they call those shops? Downtown Summerlin Center? Is that what they call
Downtown Summerlin.
It's right there, so a family could go to a baseball game and then check it out, Summerlin Center. It's beautiful. Or you could go to Red Rock and go gambling, whatever you want to do. It's a very safe area. The problem with Cashman is you drive down there, it's just a brutal area down there. Right? It sucks. Brutal, to say the least. It's bad. So, great area, beautiful ballpark. And I said, look, I understand it's not a major league ballpark, but it is a state-of-the-art ballpark for a AAA franchise. And all the players are saying that. And even though a lot of the fans left early because of the weather, they know it. They said, wow, we're definitely coming back.
Yes.
I mean, this ballpark's so beautiful. It's unbelievable.
And it's another thing to do during the summer. I mean, people don't realize kids are out. There's not a whole lot of things to do during late June, July.
If you're
August.
under 21, I agree with you.
Right. So it's for a family thing. It's good to have another option to do. You can only go to the movie so much. You can only go bowling so much. So this is a really good alternative to have.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, checking it out, and I will certainly cover more of those games and go to a lot more of those. And a lot more fun to cover.
Right.
And Cashman, I just didn't feel like driving down there. I was lazy. I didn't feel like going out there.
Plus, you're in an actual press box, so it's a lot more comfortable. You're sitting down. Everything's new. So everything, ventilation.
It's funny you mentioned that. It's my only complaint about the press box. A little tight.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little small.
Okay.
But maybe they're assuming that not many media will be covering the team.
It won't. Come next week, there's going to be like 5 guys in there.
Yeah, but I'll go. I'm going to go because I enjoy it. I think it's a great atmosphere. It's fun. And let's be honest, this is AAA baseball. A lot of these guys out there have either played in the majors at some point or they're very young prospects.
You're going to get a lot of guys on rehab assignments too.
Exactly. Yeah. And AAA. I mean, the A's are it's not that far away from here. Pretty short pretty short trip, plane,
It's
45 minutes?
Hour, 45 to an hour.
Yeah, it's great, just like going to L.A. So convenient for them. I think the away teams love coming here. Of
course.
I think it's going to be very similar to what I call when teams come out for year one to play the Vegas Golden Knights. We call that they got the Vegas flu.
Yep.
I think these AAA guys are going to be out here and they're going to be having some fun.
I wonder where the teams are staying at.
I would imagine Red Rock. That's what I heard.
Or Suncoast.
I heard Red Rock.
It's expensive. Like, Red Rock's expensive.
It is expensive, but I think they might have some sort of deal with the Aviators where they might give the away team.
Right there. Yeah. Okay.
So I would imagine Red Rock. I don't know that 100%, but I think a lot of the guys that are on the Aviators that haven't found places to live are still staying at Red Rock. So they have a deal with them. So yeah, Red Rock is. Okay. So anyway, point is, it's a lot of fun. If you might be at the game tonight or tomorrow for the homestand, but I'm looking forward to going to a lot of games there. It's a great place, and I even met the mascot. Okay. That was fun too. That was enjoyable too. It's like a duck. A big, huge duck with sunglasses. Nice. It was kind of cool. So it was a lot of fun, great atmosphere, and I recommend anyone go out there and see it. Okay, so Jamieson, we got the NBA playoffs right around the corner. We were just talking about the Pacers will be playing the Celtics. How do you see that round shaping
It's going to be a tight series. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I mean, the Celtics have most talent probably out east. When you look at their roster, look at the guys they have. But Marcus Smart is out for the first two series. He has an injury that's going to keep him out for at least the first series, probably the second series as well, if they're fortunate to get past the Pacers. The Celtics just don't know what you're going to get. Gordon Hayward has played better lately, played a lot better lately, which is a good sign. But there's just so much going on with so much unsettled contract business going on that you just don't know what's going to happen. You just do not know. So Celtics should win in 6, but it wouldn't surprise me if this went 7. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers won. When you have a team that has issues going on, those issues seem to get unraveled at the worst time. So if the Celtics were to lose in the first round of the Pacers, it wouldn't be a shock. I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Looks like there's a good chance that the Nets will be playing the 76ers, yes. And if that does happen, I don't think the 76ers will have too many problems.
That's a 5-game series at most. The
Nets might get one.
And they're just happy to be there. They're happy to be there, but that's a high-scoring series, so people who bet the over, because that's going to be a lot of points in that one.
Raptors Magic, looks like there is a good possibility that will happen as well. How do you see that shaping up?
NBA TV only. That will not be on the big networks. That's going to be NBA TV only. And nothing against the Raptors. They're a really good team. Kawhi Leonard's top 5 player in the league. It's just not in Orlando. Those are two markets that aren't NBA markets. Those aren't traditional heavy NBA markets. So it's not going to be a whole lot of tension on that series. Happy for the Magic to getting back into the playoffs. They've had some issues over the last 7 seasons plus. But they are back. Aaron Gordon's a great player, great young player that no one talks about. He's gotten a lot better. His jumper's gotten better. It's crazy. They have Terrence Ross, who's a guy that, pretty good player that kind of bounced around. And he found a home, and it's kind of worked in Orlando. Like, I remember they talking about trading him at the deadline to get some value for him. They kept him, and now they're in the playoffs, and they actually won their division, which is, I know we don't talk about divisions anymore, but that's still an accomplishment for certain teams, and for the Magic, that's one of them.
Last I heard, they have a pretty good basketball player in the Milwaukee Bucks, and they are in the playoffs, and they'll be playing the Pistons, it appears. Do the Pistons have any chance?
That should be a 4-game series.
Really?
The Pistons, Blake's knee is messed up. He's playing, he can't damage it anymore, but his knee's messed up. Pistons aren't good. Like, they're not that good. Drummond has gotten better. He's been more consistent, but he's still Andre Drummond. The perimeter-wise, the Bucks just have so many skilled guys on the perimeter. Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, when healthy, Mirotic, and also Brogdon. That's a 4-game series.
All right, fair enough. Why don't you shape out the Western Conference for me?
So I'm glad you asked that, Brian, because here's the thing. Obviously, Golden State's won. Number 2 is interesting because if Portland loses tonight, there's a first. Well, also it depends what happens between Denver. Denver's playing right now. Portland's playing right now. We gotta see what happens. But Golden State's won. They'll take care of the Clippers or whoever finishes 8th. There's some jockeying right now. Portland's not playing Dame or CJ tonight. They're holding them out. They don't want to play OKC, so they're holding their guys out. OKC's locked into 6. So basically, what that means is Portland's locked into 4. They'll play Utah. They feel that they match up better versus Utah than OKC. Because they could, obviously, they're playing the Kings in Portland. They can, if they want to play their guys, that's a winnable game. That's a game they would win. But they're not. So they're gonna play Portland in round 1. You're probably gonna get Houston and OKC in round 1. And that, to me,
that's an interesting matchup.
That day, something's got to change. Series.
Russell Westbrook and James Harden back on the same floor playing a series against one another. To me, that's interesting.
It is, because somebody's going to get fired. Because both teams have high expectations. OKC has the highest payroll in the league. Houston has 2 $40 million guys on the roster. You go home before May, something got to change.
See, to me, underneath the basket, OKC has an advantage.
Steven Adams isn't as good, though.
I like Steven Adams. See, that's where we disagree. I think Steven Adams does. Is he the most gifted player? No, but he's a physical player. He's a battler.
He's physical, but he struggles with a lot of lineups. And also, he's not the same guy as he was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would agree with you, but his body is not the same. He doesn't move as fluidly as he did 2 years ago. And I think that's an issue. When you get him away from the basket, he has to retreat, has to help him recover. I think he struggles in that area.
All right, so you see Houston coming out of that one?
That's a tough one because OKC is not afraid of them, and they actually match up well. That's the one team I think OKC doesn't fear. I think they actually match up well with Houston. They go 7. I think that's a 7-game series.
To me, that could be the most entertaining series of the first round. Is that fair to say?
You have 4 Hall of Famers playing. Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famers at that.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting series. All right, so lay out some of these other possible matchups in the Western Conference.
It's kind of tough because nothing's solidified. I mean, Golden State, if they end up playing the Clippers, that's going
to be
that's probably a sweep.
Yeah. By the way, what did you think about Jamal Crawford? I didn't even mention that yesterday.
So Jamal,
51 points. Are you kidding me?
He's the most underappreciated player of his era. He's never been an All-Star. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. One, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. If you ever have a chance to interview him over the summer or at any event, please do so. Very nice. The only way he'll decline you if he's with his kids. That's the only way. Other than that, he'll talk to you about Seattle hoops, pro teams, etc. Awesome guy. But he's a bucket. Everywhere he's gone, he's been able to score. He's old. He's been in the league since 2000. He's still scoring 50 points in games. It's actually remarkable. But Jamal Crawford is very underappreciated. For a guy with that skill set, if he was on a better team early in his career may have shaped out differently. But that's how the cookie crumbles. Very good player, though. Very good player.
No question. All right, so lay out what do you see happening here? We already know that Golden State's going to move on to the next round. We know they're not losing in the first round. You've already mentioned about that Houston OKC series is going to be extremely entertaining. It could go 7. I agree with you on that one. What else you got going here? And what are the other matchups you're looking at?
If Denver plays San Antonio, Denver's going to get by San Antonio. San Antonio just doesn't have enough talent overall. They have pop, they have veterans, but I think it's a talent issue in the playoffs. I think in the playoffs, a little bit different. Jokic, they don't have an answer for Jokic. Jokic is that good, and Denver has enough athletes and shooters to outscore San Antonio. However, it is still the Spurs, and if they end up winning the first game in Denver, watch out, because that series will go longer than people expect. But at the end of the day, Brian, the best series, if we get Houston OKC in round 1,
that's going to be awesome.
That's a lot at stake because think about it. OKC's all in with this roster. They have the highest payroll in the league. They're all in. They're a tax team, so they're paying luxury tax on this salary roster.
Right.
You can't miss the playoff, or you can't not get out the playoffs three straight rounds, 3 straight years in a row out of round 1. You cannot not be playing in May with this kind of payroll. If you're Houston, you have Harden, who some people say the MVP is, and you have Chris Paul, who's making $40 million a year. Something has to give, and that's going to be the interesting. Who's going to be the team that has to make drastic changes because you couldn't get out of round 1?
Who is the team that Golden State does not want to play, whether it's the NBA Finals or the Western Conference?
It doesn't matter. If there's a bad matchup for them, I'd probably say Philly if everything's clicking right. But with Philly, they're so up and down.
Don't like their coach.
Yeah, that too.
Not a fan of their coach.
That too. But they have so much talent, so many mismatch issues that they can present. However, they haven't been there before. And in the finals, it takes young teams. Don't
think Ben Simmons is ready to take it to the next level. Now, Joel Embiid is a beast. We know how good he is. But Ben Simmons, to me, is not that player yet.
And he doesn't have to be because they have Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler.
Right.
That's why they brought them there. Like, Ben's not ready right now, but they brought in 2 veterans to take the ease off of him, to hopefully ease his transition into that role. But out west, they're tired of hearing about Houston almost had a chance last year. They are sick and tired. And I've actually heard from the players on the team, they're tired of that. They're tired of hearing, Houston would have won. They're tired of that. So if they end up playing Houston sometime in this postseason, they might sweep Houston. Just send a message.
All right, so tell me how you see this thing playing out. Who do you see coming out of the West? Who do you see coming out of the East? What do you see, and who do you see taking it down, winning the NBA championship right now?
I think we get Warriors, Nuggets in the conference finals. I think we get Milwaukee and...
Wait, so hold on. You're telling me Houston or OKC, none of those 2 teams will make the Western Conference Finals? Really?
I don't think so.
So what happens to Mike D'Antoni?
He's still going to be there. I mean, the Rockets, for the way they started the season out to now, it's tough, man. Eventually he's going to have to make some sort of adjustments to his scheme. You just can't have a guy just go ISO heavy for 48 minutes a game, and he wears down every year. It's evident that he does. But he's going to be there. They love him. That's Daryl Morey's tied to him, so he's not going to go anywhere. However, you have to develop other guys. You just can't go 6 and 7 deep every playoffs. It just doesn't work that way. But I do think Denver has two favorable matchups. I think they will beat San Antonio, and then whoever survives the slugfest, Denver matches up with both of those teams very well.
Okay.
So I like that matchup. I like Golden State in
All
5.
right, so Golden State in the NBA Finals coming out of the West. Who do you see coming out of the East?
It's just tough because Philly's gonna mess me up here, but I'm gonna say Philly and Milwaukee are gonna be in the conference finals. I'm gonna ask, those are two teams that Milwaukee's the best team. Philly's most, probably has the interesting bunch in terms of cluster of talent that you just have a hard time matching up against. Man, it's hard picking against Giannis because he's an amazing player. But
great for the NBA though to see the Greek Freak go deep into the playoffs. Very good for the NBA.
Great, but
marketable player.
Very marketable, but man, they don't have enough talent. At the end of the day, it's about. And when it comes to May, it's about who you got in your roster, who you can trust. I think Philly has more guys they can trust in their roster than Milwaukee does, so I go with Philly.
Okay, who do you see? If it is Philly and Golden State in the finals, I would imagine you're going to pick Golden State.
I have to, even though I think it's a situation where Golden State have to make a lot of different adjustments. They have a lot of different cross matches because Draymond Green's not the same guy he once was. However, they got Andrew Bogut, very sneaky pickup, very sneaky good pickup, just in case they had to go against a center.
What do you think, by the way, about Bogut making all those remarks about the Lakers, saying how the Lakers lied to him about his contract?
Well, here's the thing. It is what it is. I mean, he was a journeyman last guy on the bench player with them last year. However, he didn't tell his agents the Warriors called him. Right. So, I mean, you can't have it both sides of the fence. You can't all of a sudden say, I'm playing for the Warriors, and your agent doesn't know about it. And then you make these comments basically saying, hey, they lied to you. It goes both ways. Honestly, it's water under the bridge. It doesn't really matter. He wasn't in their long-term plans anyway, and it actually worked out better for him because he got to go back home for a few months, and he's on the Warriors now. He's going to win another ring. So
fair enough. He is Jamieson Welsh, Drive Time Sports, our hoops guru. I am Brian Shapiro. You're listening to The Vegas Take. By the way, check us out on Twitter at The Vegas Take as well, as we have previewed the NBA playoffs. I want to switch gears a little bit here and move to UNLV basketball. Yesterday, we had UNLV's newly hired assistant coach on the show, Kevin Kruger, obviously the son to Lon Kruger, and he was our point guard when UNLV made it to the Sweet 16. I thought yesterday was a very, very good day for UNLV basketball for a number of different reasons. First of all, the hire of Kevin Kruger, I think, is a fantastic hire. Just a fantastic family, great basketball mind. Always good to have the Krugers still involved with the program, and I think Kevin will be a very good head coach someday, number one. Number two, the fact that Amari Hardy is going to be staying and Hamilton, those are two pieces to the puzzle. I think Hardy is a big piece to the puzzle. He is a good player. I think by the time he makes it, maybe next year, I don't know, he will be an all-conference player at some point. I do believe that. I think if he is going to be a point guard, he needs to learn to distribute a little bit better, but he is a shoot-first, pass-second player, but he's very good off the dribble. He's very quick, just a little bit inconsistent, but he is going to get better. Were you surprised that Amari Hardy decided to stay here at UNLV?
I wasn't, for a couple reasons. One, his brother, who's a five-star player, it goes to Coronado, and he's a really good player, and I don't think they wanted to uproot him. I think that's the first thing. Second thing is this system is an offensive-friendly system. That's the thing. If you're a ball player that can score, you're not trying to leave a place that you're going to get the free reign to score and do what you do best at to take your chances somewhere else and lose a year. That's the thing. When you transfer, you lose a year. And I don't think a lot of guys are interested in doing so. So you see a guy that's coming in and says, hey, we get up and down the court. My teams have scored 80-plus points a game. That's encouraging. That's things that guys, especially guards, want to hear. So I'm not really surprised that guys are staying. I would love to see what Ntombwe is doing. I think he's going to end up leaving, but unfortunately, that's a guy that if he stayed, then you have a good situation. Because I think with a new system, with these guys coming back, I think you have a totally different team.
What about Shakur Houston? Is there no chance he's coming back?
I don't think so. I think he's older. He's older. There's been no signs of him being around the program. There's been no signs. There's been no communication. I don't think he comes back at all.
Interesting. Well, I mean, certainly it's a win for T.J. Otzelberger, the fact that Hardy is staying, the fact that Hamilton is staying. The rest of the players that have decided to stay, I don't think are going to be getting many minutes, but it's going to be interesting to see.
I think Blair's staying too.
Blair is staying too, but it'd be interesting to see the type of recruiting that T.J. Otzelberger is able to do. We're going to find out right away.
There's a kid named Taryn Todd. He's at Finley Prep. He's eligible to reclass up. He's a 6'4" point guard with a lot of athleticism and can shoot and can handle the ball. That guy is out there for him. He needs to go talk to him. So anyone who knows the new coach,
go send him a note.
To go talk to him. He is. UNLV needs players. This kid is able to reclass. Go get him, please.
All right. Well, a lot of stuff going on. Of course, UNLV basketball, TJ Otzelberger hiring, and now he's trying to get players here. We got the Aviators that just opened up their season yesterday. We got the NBA playoffs right around the corner. Oh, yeah, I haven't even mentioned about the Vegas Golden Knights. Game 1 of the NHL playoffs. I almost said Stanley Cup Finals. I'm so used to saying that last year. I don't think they're going to get there this year. I hope I'm wrong, but they're in Game 1 right now against the same team they played in the playoffs last year, the San Jose Sharks. They do not have home ice. Game 1. About 8 minutes into the first period, no score. A lot of people, I talked to Sean Burke, a longtime NHL goaltender, and he kind of handicapped this series. He actually seems to think that it's going to go 7 games between the Sharks and the Golden Knights. Not this Golden Knights team, not as good as they were last year, but they're still a good team. They're certainly a playoff team. But you got to get one of these games in San Jose. If you're not going to win today, you got to win on Friday. Same rule applies in the NBA, right? You're just looking to split one of these games and then get back home. You feel really good about yourself, 1-1, and you can't go down 2 games and expect to win this game and win the series. And that's what the Knights did so well last year. You really didn't see them lose 2 games in a row. I mean, that's the thing. Unless you're talking about against the Capitals in the Stanley Cup Finals, they were able to split games on the road in the playoffs, and that's what you need to do to survive and to move on. So Knights Game 1. Tomorrow, by the way, we are going to be having Brian Salmon join us. He's actually out there in San Jose for the game tonight, so he's going to be joining us tomorrow. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be joining us as well. Man, these NBA playoffs are heating up.
Yes.
What is the over-under on going back to the Lakers? How long does Luke Walton keep his job?
I think there's a change sometime next week. I think, during one of the slow news days, I think there's a situation. Because also, remember, Luke's going to be a commodity out there as well. There's going to be teams, whether it's college or pro, they're going to look to hire him. He comes from great lineage. He comes from Golden State. He's a name. He's a guy that people know and people like. He's a guy that very few people have bad things to say about. So he's going to be a guy with some interest. So it would not surprise me to see if it gets done sooner than later.
Now, I know you mentioned Juwan Howard as a possible next coach for the LA Lakers. Do you still feel that way?
He's definitely an option because, one, he won't be as expensive as a Ty Lue or Jason Kidd or whomever else is out there. And secondly, he's a guy that LeBron can trust. He's a guy LeBron has confidence in and faith in. And also, as crazy as it sounds, as long as Rob Pelinka's there, he played college basketball with Juwan Howard. He was a 6th man on that team. So it wouldn't surprise me if that were to happen.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see how this goes. I just think the Lakers are in a little bit of disarray right now. Yeah. It's just amazing to me that if you told me the last 30 games the Clippers played the Lakers, they would have won like almost all of them. It's just 10 years ago, I would have never believed you.
Ever since the veto, the Lakers have been scrambling. So my friend always says the best. Mike Tyson lost in Tokyo. He was scrambling for the mouthpiece. Remember, he was trying to.
I remember that.
That's been the Lakers ever since the veto. That's been the Lakers.
You're right. You have a right about that. I guess you could talk about David Stern when it comes to that, right? Going back.
That's probably they've been scrambling ever since. They've been looking for the mouthpiece ever since.
Well, Jamieson, I always appreciate it when you take some time to join us, my man. You are. There's a reason why I call you the Hoops Guru. You are Mr. Basketball. Always appreciate your knowledge.
Thank you.
And we will catch up with you next week. Thank you so much,
No
my
problem.
man.
Thank you.
All right, we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Ken Thompson, the legend, coming up next. Thanks for listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.